I often wonder how important luck is in my life. I'm not sure if there is a thing called luck. Some people say they are lucky and others say they are unlucky. I think everyone in life has good luck and bad luck. Just because someone loses something or has an accident doesn't mean it's bad luck. An accident is an accident. People who always say they have bad luck are negative. If they wait, something good will happen in their lives. I do like to wish people good luck though. I think it's a nice thing to say if someone has an interview or an exam. But people pass exams and interviews because they studied hard or spoke well, not because of luck. In England, people think they'll have 7 years of bad luck if they break a mirror. That's strange. There are magazines on just about anything you can think of. Just walk into a big bookstore and see the hundreds of different kinds of magazines. There are magazines for men, magazines for women, for children, for bankers, stamp collectors, and even English students. They're quite amazing when you think about it. There's so much information in them. It must take a long time to make one magazine, and they are such great value for money. I like reading magazines that I would never usually buy. This happens when I'm in a waiting room. I like flicking through the magazine rack and looking through the magazine. I don't care if it's in another language. The pictures are interesting. Management is a funny thing. Most of the people I know who are in management are not actually managers. I mean, they don't have any qualifications to say they are managers. I think most managers are like that. They spend a year or two in a job and then become managers once the old manager moves on. I'm not sure whether or not you can learn management. Of course, there are things like MBAs that teach you this, but in the end, management is all about how you deal with people. If you have a personality that can't respect people and treat them fairly, you can't be a good manager. I have worked for some terrible managers. They have no idea what they're doing and only create lots of work for others. I'm full of admiration for people who run marathons. I couldn't do it. I love running and have done a few half marathons, but I always found a full marathon to be too much. Marathon runners are special. I don't think I have the stamina to do it. Not properly anyway. I could run one of the big marathons in the world like the Boston or London Marathon, but it would really be pretty much as a fun run. Most people who take part in these well-known international marathons only do so for fun. I think to be a marathon runner, you need to train and run 100 kilometers a week. I wonder what it's like to be in the lead in the Olympic marathon. That must be an amazing feeling. I think the marathon is the most important Olympic event. Marketing is a funny thing. Sometimes I like it, other times I hate it. There is definitely an art to marketing. Some of the advertising campaigns you see are the work of a genius. Someone has thought of a great idea, slogan and advertising campaign to sell us or tell us something. I like it when I can see the creativity. There are other kinds of marketing that make me angry. Ads and campaigns that are directed at children make my blood boil, especially the McDonald's ads that do not mention food, but show lots of free cheap toys. I also hate viral marketing. That's when you receive spam mail trying to sell you something. I also get annoyed with marketing campaigns that have slogans that are just untrue, like smoking is cool. Marriage seems to be a dying institution. Everywhere we look, there are more and more statistics saying marriage is on its way out, divorce is on the increase, or people are leaving it later and later to tie the knot. A worrying trend over the past few decades is the number of people who live together without making the commitment of marriage. I'm not really sure what the difference is. If you love someone and want to stay together forever, why not get married? I think marriage adds a lot to a couple's life, from the wedding day itself right through to all of the anniversaries. Unmarried people miss out on these special occasions. Marriage is also important if you want to start a family. Perhaps I'm just old-fashioned. When I was a kid, I was top of the class in maths. I was really good at mental arithmetic and doing sums. Things were easy back then. It was all addition and subtraction, multiplication and division. I knew my times tables like the back of my hand. Then things got difficult when I was about 14. We had to learn stuff like algebra and geometry and lots of other stuff I can't remember the names of. Suddenly, I wasn't so good at maths anymore. I think there were a few reasons for this. One was my maths teacher, another was because I sat at the back of the class, and another was I talked a lot. I still like maths and know I would be good at it again if I studied. I did statistics when I was at university and loved that. I'm a big meat eater. I love meat of all kinds. I have eaten all sorts of meat. Even though I love meat, I could easily stop eating it and I don't think I'd miss it. A long time ago I heard the vegetarian slogan, meat is murder. If you think about it, that's true. I don't think animals are here today for us to eat, especially when we don't need to eat meat. And then there's the threat of global warming today. Raising animals needs land. Many forests are cut down to raise cows for meat. This really has to stop. Instead of meat, there are other things we could have. Dairy products would give us the protein we need. I know a lot of people who could never give up meat. They always say it would be impossible to go without a big, juicy steak. Where would we be without the media? How would we get information about the world? All of us are interested in the news. We all want to know what's happening around the world. We switch the TV on just to watch the news. It seems as though every train passenger has a newspaper. The journalists who bring us the news do a very important job. Many risk their lives to bring us the news from the world's danger zones. Unfortunately, many reporters are killed while they are covering a war. The media make us feel we are part of the world. We become experts on other countries and on the big news stories. The media also bring us many unforgettable images, such as a man walking on the moon. Really, the media show us history as it happens. I don't understand how anyone can like medicine. I've never liked it. I used to refuse to take it as a kid because the taste was so disgusting. I'm not sure whether or not medicine is a good thing. I'm sure that most of the time our body will recover naturally without medicine. I actually think medicine can be bad for us. It makes the body weaker because we rely on medicines too much. I also worry about the safety of medicines. I read too many times about side effects. How can doctors be sure that the medicines we take one day won't make us ill later in life? A lot of what goes into medicine isn't natural. I'm a big believer in natural medicine. That seems to make much more sense. The Chinese seem to have it right. Meditation is one thing I'd really like to be able to do. I can't do it. I have tried many times but nothing seems to happen. I have read a lot about meditation and it sounds really good. You can relax anytime you want. 20 minutes of meditation is the same as 3 hours sleep. I love the idea of meditating for 20 minutes in my lunchtime and then feeling totally refreshed. Meditation is also a good way of relieving stress. The thing I most like about meditation is that it makes you calm. All the people I know who meditate are always relaxed and easygoing. They never worry about anything. I think we should learn how to meditate at school. That would probably solve a lot of problems in society. If you're lucky, you have more good memories than bad ones. I'm very lucky. I have lots of good memories. I don't have many painful memories. I don't know why. Lots of bad things happened to me when I was younger, but I don't really have strong memories of them. I do have very clear memories of happy times. My earliest memory is of my first day in kindergarten. I guess I was 3. I remember playing in the sand and eating it. I don't remember my mother getting angry though. My most wonderful memory is a holiday to Mexico when I was 10. I remember every sound and smell so clearly. When I look at our family photos, the memories of what we did come flooding back. I'd like to relive those memories one day. Are men really from another planet? A lot of women think so. There are a lot of books about how strange men are. This is rubbish. Men are men the same as women are women. Of course men are not perfect, no one is. Men actually have done a lot of bad things in the world. All of the wars in history were started and fought by men. They seem to be naturally aggressive and wanting to fight rather than talk. Things are changing though. There was the 1980s man. Suddenly men were more human. They helped with the shopping, cooked and did the washing up, and they even cried. We do need men. They are better at reading maps than women, and men's sports are more exciting than women's sports. I sometimes worry about my mental health. There are times when I think I'm going crazy. I think it's because of this world we live in. Everything is so fast. Everyone is in a hurry. Everything has to be done yesterday. I'm sure life wasn't so stressful 100 years ago. Then people's mental health was probably better. The only good thing nowadays is that there are mental health specialists who can help us when we are in trouble. But there is a problem with these experts. They keep on thinking up new mental health problems we suffer from. What we all need is to take a step back and slow down. That will be good for our mental health. We need to laugh more and care more. If we don't do this, we'll all have mental health problems. What would life be like without Microsoft? Impossible. Perhaps not impossible, but definitely difficult. Microsoft seems to be a big part of our lives today. Most of us use Microsoft products every day. We need MS Word to create documents and Excel to make spreadsheets. At school, we have to make PowerPoint presentations. Perhaps the biggest thing we use Microsoft for is getting on the internet. Most of the world's computers use the Explorer browser to connect to the web. Millions of us use Hotmail to send emails. Millions more play games using Microsoft's Xbox. In the future, there'll probably be a lot more Microsoft stuff that helps us in our life. And to think, Microsoft didn't even exist a few decades ago. Milk is one of the best things we can eat or drink for our body. It's so full of goodness and it tastes pretty good too. Milk is rich in calcium, which makes our bones and teeth strong. This makes milk essential for Barbies and growing children. It makes them grow up stronger. Milk is also full of many important vitamins and minerals. When I was little, I didn't really like milk. I think I had a bad experience with sour milk, which turned me off of it. I remember drinking it again when I was a teenager and liking it. Now I think it's one of the most refreshing drinks you can drink. Just looking at its whiteness makes me feel healthy. I like all kinds of milk, including goat's milk and even camel's milk. It's all good for us. How important to you is your mobile phone? Do you really need it? In the 1980s there were no mobile phones. People still managed to phone their family and friends and do business. Of course, there were more public telephones then. There was a telephone box pretty much on every street corner. I wonder whether mobile phones are a good or bad thing. For sure, they are very convenient, but they can also be a nuisance. There's nothing worse than talking to someone and then they ignore you for 10 minutes while they answer their phone. I have even seen people on a date, and one person chats on the phone for 30 minutes. How would life change for you if you didn't have a mobile? Would you miss listening to other people's conversations on the train? Models are strange people. It's almost as though they live in a totally different world to the rest of us. Every day they are told how beautiful they are. I'm sure this affects them in some way. They constantly think about their beauty and their figure. Male models too. A lot of female models also have to be very strict with what they eat so they don't put on weight. Today a model has to be size 0 to be successful. This is unhealthy. The sad thing is that many normal girls want to look like a model, so they end up having health problems. I suppose the life of a model is glamorous. The supermodels fly all over the world. They walk the catwalks at fashion shows and visit exotic locations for photo shoots. And get paid big money. Are you happy with your lifestyle? What kind of lifestyle do you lead? It seems that we think about our lifestyle more and more these days. Every time we turn on the TV or open a magazine, there is an ad, program or article about this lifestyle or that lifestyle. We are told about healthy lifestyles, modern lifestyles, alternative lifestyles. Magazines use pages and pages and pages to describe the lifestyles of the rich and famous. I get the impression that few people are happy with their lifestyle. Most people are jealous of other people who have a better lifestyle. Those people should stop for a minute and think about the poor people in the world or those caught up in wars. Those people don't worry about lifestyles, they just worry about life. Do we really need a monarchy in the 21st century? It's such a strange idea. It certainly is not a democratic idea. No one votes for someone to be king or queen. When a prince or princess is born, he or she automatically has a wonderful life. This is not fair. I had to study and work very hard just to get an average job with not much money. Those in a monarchy are born into wealth. They never really have to lift a finger. The strange thing is that most people who live in a monarchy like their king and queen. Take the United Kingdom, for example. Around 80% of British people support their monarchy. I suppose it's good for tourism. I wouldn't say no to being part of a royal family. Money makes the world go round. I wonder if this famous English expression is very true. If you have money, the world goes round very gently and you are happy. If you don't have money, the world might not go round so smoothly. They also say that money is the root of all evil. I think this is so true. Money makes people kill and steal. Greed means there are things in the world like blackmail, corruption, slave labor, and a lot more terrible things. Another common saying in English is money can't buy happiness. I'm not so sure about this one. I know if I had loads of money, I'd be pretty happy. I think if all the world's money was shared out, the world would go round more happily, and there would be less evil and more happiness. The moon is a very mysterious thing. It has fascinated us for thousands of years. It is mentioned everywhere in science and literature almost from the time humans started writing, and today it still fills us with wonder. The most amazing thing about the moon is that humans have been there. Neil Armstrong walking on the moon's surface must be the greatest human achievement ever. Even though man has walked on the moon, not everyone agrees on its color. In Japan, and perhaps in other countries too, they think it's yellow. Of course, the moon is white. One day we'll probably have holidays on the moon. I'd totally love that. Imagine staying in a moon hotel and waking up in the morning to look at the Earth. Mothers are the people dearest to us. We all have a special relationship with our mother. We are naturally bonded to our mother. We spend 9 months growing inside her and she is the person who looks after us when we are Barbies. Our mother does everything for us. She feeds us, cleans us, wipes away our tears, treats our cuts and bruises, supports us and loves us. And all of this never stops. Mothers still do motherly things even when we are old and she is really old. It is very sad to hear that someone's mother has died. I remember this happening to some children in my class at school. I can't imagine how children grow up without a mother. I hope my mother lives forever. She deserves to. I love mountains. I much prefer them to every other kind of natural feature. They are much better than the sea, beaches, deserts, etc. Mountains are so cool, they rise up so high into the sky. I can't stop looking at mountains wherever I am in the world. I also love being in the mountains. The landscape is just spectacular. You really feel part of God's wonderful creation when you are surrounded by mountains. There are so many things you can do in the mountains. Some people like climbing them or jumping off them with a parachute. This is not for me. I just like going for a walk and having a picnic. There's nothing better than sitting down and admiring the mountain view and feeling the cool mountain breeze. This is paradise. I love watching movies at the cinema, on TV, or on my computer. I'm a big movie fan and love all the news of my favorite movie stars. I like all kinds of movies: Hollywood blockbusters, black and white movies from the 50s, independent movies. They're all good. Recently I've got into watching foreign movies. I like the films that come out of Bollywood. They're very different. The first film I saw at the movie theatre was Star Wars. I was amazed at the special effects. Nowadays, so many movies have such good computer graphics that we forget how special the effects are. One of my favorite ways of relaxing is to rent the latest DVD and sit on the sofa with a big bag of potato chips. The sound has to be up to the max and the lights have to be off. Aren't MP3s amazing? Maybe young people today don't think so. They are part of the digital generation and think MP3s are normal. But I was born long before digital music started. When I was a teenager, I had a record collection. You had to go to a store and buy your music. I had hundreds of records. The first time I came across MP3s, I laughed. I was totally amazed. I still find it hard to believe I can keep 10,000 songs in my pocket and take them anywhere in the world. I also love the idea of MP3 downloads. It's much easier than going to a record store. I'm wondering what happens after MP3s. What's next? I'm sure one day people will laugh at how old technology MP3s are. Multiculturalism is everywhere today. As the world gets smaller, multiculturalism becomes bigger. Few of us today live in towns in which there is only one culture. Today we live in towns where we are surrounded by many other cultures. If we live in a city, we will see people from all over the world. Of course, some cities are more multicultural than others. New York is a real melting pot. It is called the most multicultural city on Earth. A city like Tokyo isn't so multicultural. I think multiculturalism is a great thing. It's fantastic walking out of your door and seeing other cultures. This didn't happen when I was young. People didn't understand other cultures. They didn't even want to understand. I'm glad things are changing today. Murder is the most evil thing in the world. I don't know how it is possible for one person to murder another. Why do they think they can take someone else's life? Even worse are people who commit multi-murder. Mass killing seems to be more and more common today. Shootings at schools are especially bad. How can we prevent murder? Every time we look at the news, there's another murder. I hope it is not something that will stay with the human race forever. What is the correct punishment for murder? In some societies, it is just a few years in prison. In others, it is the death penalty. But there are some countries that don't punish people for murder. If you are in power and are rich, you can literally get away with murder. Where would we be without muscles? Probably a mess on the floor. Muscles are pretty interesting things. Everybody has lots of them. Some people look after them better than others. Bodybuilders want to have really big muscles. The bigger the better. They spend hours in the gym lifting weights to make their muscles as big as they can. Athletes work on the specific muscles they need for their sport. If you look at a 100-meter runner, you'll notice they have large shoulder and arm muscles. This is so they can power ahead when they run. An interesting thing about muscles is that it takes more face muscles to frown than it does to smile. This means smiling uses less energy, so we should do it more. I totally love museums. They really are one of the most important parts of our culture. Museums are important for so many things. They educate us, they preserve our history, they show us how we have developed. There are museums on so many different things. In fact, I'm sure there isn't a topic there isn't a museum for. I've loved museums since I was little. We used to go to different museums on school trips. I loved them. I saw so many amazing things. I will never forget seeing the bones of a T-Rex in the Natural History Museum. I also remember staring at Tutankhamun's gold mask for ages. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. The best museum I've ever been to is the National Museum in Cairo. It's unbeatable. What would life be like without music? I wonder how music started. It is an important part of every culture on Earth. I wonder when we first became interested in music. I also wonder when we first become interested in music. Is it when we are a baby? Some people think our interest in music starts before we are born. Music is an essential part of my day. It changes my feeling and puts me in a good mood. There's nothing better to do on a train or bus than put on my headphones. I like all kinds of music, from classical and opera to jazz, rock and world music. I'm always looking for something new. Sometimes I hear a song or piece of music on the TV or radio. I have to find out who it is. Do you do that? I'm sure I'll keep collecting CDs or MP3s until I'm 100. Perhaps I won't be able to hear it then. I really wish I could play a musical instrument. I can't. I had a few music lessons when I was a kid, but I didn't keep them up. I really regret that now. I get quite jealous of people who can play a musical instrument. It's a wonderful ability. I hope they know how lucky they are to be able to play an instrument. Of all the musical instruments, I'd like to play the piano. I think this is the king of musical instruments. It sounds so beautiful. Pianos also look beautiful. I imagine it's very relaxing playing it. Another instrument I'd like to play is the guitar. I still want to be a rock star, although I'm a bit old now. I suppose it's never too old though to learn to play something. I haven't given up hope. Life is full of mysteries. The world is full of mystery. In fact, both life and the world are mysteries. How exactly did we get here? The natural world is full of mystery. We have unlocked many of nature's secrets, but there are many things we still don't know. There are some mysteries that people don't believe in. Is there really a Loch Ness monster or a Yeti? Do ghosts and the supernatural really exist? Perhaps the biggest mystery of all is whether aliens exist. Scientists have spent billions of dollars working on this. I find people here on Earth to be a mystery. I can never understand why people behave the way they do. Even the people close to me can be the biggest mysteries. That's strange, isn't it? Nails are funny things. Why do we have them? I actually find them quite annoying. We have to keep cutting them, they get dirty and sometimes they break and become painful. I'd rather we didn't have nails. I'm sure it wouldn't change our lives. I guess women would say no to that idea. My female friends spend a lot of money on their nails. I don't know why. Nail polish stinks and so does nail polish remover. I really don't know why they waste their time going for manicures. It must be really boring sitting there, watching someone paint your nails. Nail art is now big business. People have become millionaires opening nail art salons. The best thing for me would be to have really short nails that never grow. I like my names. I have 4 names: my family name, my given name and 2 middle names. I'm not sure why I have 2 middle names. I guess my parents wanted to name me after 2 of my uncles. Names are different all over the world. In some countries, family name comes before the given name. In the Muslim world, a girl's name includes her father and grandfather's names. In Japan and China, there is no middle name. I think it's interesting how people choose a name. I really don't understand naming a baby after a famous actor or sports star. That's silly. I think names should have a meaning. In the West, people don't really know what their name means. In many countries, each name has a special meaning. Some national anthems are really good and some aren't. I like my country's anthem. It makes me feel proud of my country every time I hear it. I'm a little embarrassed to say I don't know the words to it. In some countries they play the national anthem every day in school. I remember being in Thailand. They play the national anthem in the streets every morning. Everyone stops and stands still. When the anthem finishes, people start walking again. In other countries I've been to, they play the national anthem in cinemas before a movie starts. I really like hearing my national anthem played at the Olympics. That means my country won a gold medal. I have to hold back the tears when I hear it then. Nationality is a strange thing. I don't think it used to be. Nowadays, with globalization, people want to change their nationality. Many people from poor countries want to go to rich countries and become citizens. It's strange because I don't understand how your nationality can change. Even if I live in Peru for 50 years, I'm still English, even though I might have a Peruvian passport. I think people have confused feelings when they change nationalities. Their heart is still in their real country and not in the country of their new nationality. Nationality unfairly decides how successful you'll be in life. If you're born in a rich country, you'll get a good education. If you're born in a poor country, you might not even get basic human rights. I don't know about you, but I think there are more natural disasters now than before. Every time I turn on the news, there's some kind of disaster. There are bushfires in Australia and California, earthquakes in China, hurricanes in Mexico, and droughts in Africa. I'm sure global warming is creating more natural disasters. I'm lucky. Where I live, we don't really have natural disasters. I've never experienced anything like the things on TV. Japan has many natural disasters. They have earthquakes, typhoons, flooding, volcanoes, all kinds of things. They are lucky they have the money to deal with them. There are countries in Africa that aren't rich. When a natural disaster hits them, everyone suffers terribly. Neighbors are very hit and miss. Sometimes you hit the jackpot and get neighbors who become great friends. Other times you get the short straw and have nightmare neighbors. I've had good and bad neighbors. I'm not sure why some neighbors are so bad. It's really not that difficult to be a good neighbor. All you have to do is be polite, don't play loud music late at night, and don't park in front of their house. It sounds easier than it is. I think a long time ago there was a lot of neighborliness. Families lived near each other for generations. It's different today. New families come and go, they never get to know each other, everyone keeps their distance. This is not always a good thing. Why is the news always so depressing? Every time I look at the news I get sad. It's always war, death, killing, famine. Why can't news stations report happy news? They really don't have to bring us such terrible stories. I looked at the news last night. There was news about 2 wars, a corrupt leader, an increase in knife crime, and the story of a deadly new disease. Oh, I forgot, and the global financial crisis. We're all poorer and will stay poorer for the next 20 years. I'm sure there must be something happy to tell us. If we look at nice news stories, we'll all feel happier. We need news about the good humans are doing. I want to hear about advances in medicine and science, or about someone raising $1 million for a charity. I like the night, it's an interesting time of the day. The city changes at night, I like all the bright lights. People seem to be more active. Everyone is rushing home or going out, all the action starts at night. Restaurants, bars and clubs open. Everyone is happy. Night means we can stop working or studying and enjoy ourselves. It's cooler at night so you feel more relaxed. Of course, the city at night is very different from the country. All you can do in the country is look at the night sky or sit around a fire. Everything stops at night in the country and people sleep very early, except for insects. Nighttime can be very noisy because of the insects that come out at night. I'm a night person. I'm nocturnal like an owl or bat. Sometimes I like the word no and sometimes I hate it. It is a very powerful word even though it has just 2 letters. I don't like the word no when I have been for a job interview and didn't get the job. I also hate this word when I ask someone on a date. Then hearing no is like a kick in the teeth. I think I probably say yes more than no. I love going out. I never say no if anyone asks me to go to a club or go on a trip. I wonder how many ways there are of saying no. Sometimes you can say no when you really mean yes. Other times no means no. I also like this small word because it fits into some interesting phrases like no can do, a no-go area and no way Jose. My favorite is that's a real no-no for things you must never do. I wonder why the Nobel Prize is so famous. Sure, the people who win it are very clever, but they're not really superstars. I've usually heard of the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize because they're always in the news. But have you ever heard of the Nobel laureates for medicine, physics, chemistry, etc.? Even though I read a lot, I only sometimes know the winner of the Nobel Prize for literature. I like reading about who won the Nobel Prize. It makes me want to be like them. Of course, I can never win such a prize, but I can study more. Some of the Nobel Prize winners of the past are really famous. Einstein and Mother Teresa are perhaps the most famous. I was shocked to learn Gandhi never won the Nobel Peace Prize.